Third point is that system meets the end user's expectation. Now, suppose that whenever we do visit any websites, we do have certain expectation from that website. Now,
Yes.
yes, it would behave in a particular manner. Like if we are going on a YouTube, we would have at least that expectation that I would be able to play any videos that I want without much trouble. If I do see any thumbnail, I like it, and I click on that thumbnail, that video should play. Correct? I would have that much expectation,
Yes.
and I can change the video quality depending upon my preference. If I do
Yes.
have, if I do have a very good internet connection, I can increase it to 4K. If I do have a bad connection, I can go for that 720p or even 320p. Correct?
Yes.
So we need to fulfill those end users' expectations as well. And who defines that end users' expectation? If we do have any projects, then the customer would be giving us the requirement.
Yes.
And if it's a product, then the product manager would give us the requirement. They would have already done a feasibility study and what kind of product they want. And based upon those research, they would have developed that soft product. Okay.
Okay.
So are we clear till now, or do you have any doubts, Deepan?
Uh, no, I'm clear.
That's great. Now,
Clear.
now the last point, that's fixing bugs and identifying after release is expensive. What do you mean by this point, Deepan? Can you explain it? The last point here, fixing the bugs identified after release is more expensive. What does exactly it means?
Uh, as a QA, or like we get the developed software where we can check the product before we deliver to the customer,
Mhm.
and identified all the bugs to
Mhm.
make sure all the requirements are met,
Mhm.
and the product shouldn't have any disturbance.
No, no, I'm talking about the last point only, not the end, not all these three points before. The last,
Fixing bugs identified, right?
fixing bug identified after release is more expensive. What exactly do you think about this point, the last point? What are your thoughts? I mean, what
I
exactly?
believe after releasing a software or an application, uh, if there is any bug found, that means the normal business or anything that is expected from that application is going to be hampered. So that will uh, cost something for the business in losses. Secondly, we would need to hire more people again or some people again to fix all those bugs for the software.
It
So that is going to
uh,
cost again for the organization and for the business both.
Yes, that's correct. Now, whenever you do have a contract with any client, or even if you are developing a product for your own company, okay, and you release that product, suppose if I give you a example, like for YouTube, okay, there was a feature that allows you to expand the screen, I mean, go into full screen mode. Okay, that was the feature that you had planned in your mind and you had given it to the dev team, that you want a feature that whenever someone plays a video, it is played on half of the screen, but if they click on full screen, the video goes on a full screen. Okay, that was your requirement. but that was not developed properly. In that case, when the product went live, the issue was found that the full screen mode is not working correctly. Now the customer experience won't be good because of that. Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, once the product has been released, generally what happens is the entire dev team that was developing the product, they are generally shifted to a different project. Okay, and there are very few people that are kept there for support of that product or projects, you can say. So now, as the team was already dissolved, now we again need to rehire, as mentioned correctly by Rajan.
Rajan.
Again, we need to rehire those people, and that rehiring process, it's gonna cost us money, correct?
Yes.
So it would be more expensive if we do found any critical bug or any kind of bug after release, it becomes more expensive. So we should always keep in mind to do the thorough testing before release itself. Okay.
Okay.
Now, there are three types of errors, you can say, or three types of bugs. First would be error. Error is what is known as incorrect human actions or processes. Like if I give you an example, if you are driving, do you know how to drive a car, Dipen?
Yes, I drive.
So there is a particular order for driving a car, if I'm not wrong. First, you need to get your car keys, then you need to unlock your car, correct?
Yes. Turn
And
on the engine.
yes, no, first you would open the door, na? How would
Yeah,
you?
no, after opening the door, I'm continuing to you.
Yes. First, you would open the door, get inside the car, put your keys in the key slot, and turn on the ignition and close the door, or vice versa. Okay. And then
Mhm.
you, if you do have an automatic one, then not the problem. If not, then you'll have to put on first gear and drive away.
And drive. Yes.
Now, that is the set of steps that you need to follow in order to drive a car correctly. Because without keys, you can't unlock the car. So if you just say that if you do see a car parked outside your house and you don't have the keys, you just can't drive the car, correct? Because it's
Yes.
locked. So
Yes.
you need to follow a particular order for in any process to get a desired outcome, correct?
Yes.
So in software also that applies. Like for YouTube, if you want to view any video, first you need to visit that URL or open the YouTube app on your computer or mobile.
Mobile. Yeah.
Then search for that video, or if that video is already present in your home screen, you need to click on that thumbnail and then the video would play, probably after the ad is displayed, correct?
Yes.
That is the steps that needs to happen in order for you to view that video. Now, if we don't follow these steps, then we won't be able to get the desired result. Okay. And the incorrect steps that we follow is due to our own error, correct? Or our bad judgment, you can say.
Yes.
So any human error in the process or problem to get the desired outcome, that is what we call as an error in terms of software. Okay.
Okay.
So It basically involves human action. Now, coming to the second point, defect slash bug. Any deviation from the actual behavior of the system is called defect. What do we mean by that? Can you explain, Dipen?
Deviation from expected behavior to the actual behavior.
Mhm.
Like if we type something like on the YouTube, if we type uh, or in Google or YouTube, if we type any kind of movie name and the other thing displayed, that is a defect.
Mhm. Correct. That's exactly what a defect is. Like if you go to YouTube and you want to see like Hello Kitty videos, okay? You type Hello Kitties from your keyboard. But on
And the
this, sorry,
yeah,
hmm, like if you type Hello Kitty from your keyboard, okay, and in the search bar, you see that it shows uh, hello, only hello, not the kitty part. Okay, so it was a deviation from the actual behavior, correct? You typed two words, but the search box only displays one.
one. Yeah.
So that's the deviation from the normal behavior. So that's what a defect or bugs look like. Okay.
Okay.
Coming to the failure part. Now, in failure, if you are trying to perform certain actions and these actions would lead to any particular result, like you click on thumbnail of YouTube and that video plays, that's your end result. Now, suppose you go to YouTube and you do find a video that interests you. Now you click on that thumbnail and nothing happens. Okay, so that's a system failure. You tried clicking on the thumbnail, but the video did not play. Okay,
Mhm. Yes.
that's what a system failure is. You were not able to do your, see the video. The intended purpose of YouTube is anyone can go online and watch any kind of videos they want on YouTube. That's the intended purpose of YouTube, correct?
Yes.
So if I'm not able to do that intended purpose of that software through my normal actions, then it's a system failure. The software is not able to perform its intended task.
I have one question in detect or bug and failure. So let's
Mhm,
suppose on a YouTube, when I click on a thumbnail,
mhm,
so if there any video plays, so
mhm.
that's a defect. I mean, the intended video does not play, something else plays. So that's a defect or a bug, right? But in failure, again, the same thing. When we click on that, it does not respond in the same way. So it's also defect, deviates from its intended result. So exactly what is the difference in that? I mean, both sounds like same, but we term it differently in bug and failure.
Yes, bug you can say is a small failure. Bug
Okay.
is a small failure, and failure you can basically say that it does not do its intended purpose, as mentioned above, as mentioned earlier also, that if you go to YouTube and you click on a thumbnail of any video, suppose there are four videos on your home screen. Okay, first one is how to learn manual testing. The second video is how to learn automation. Okay, you do have 2 videos on your home screen in YouTube. Am I audible?
Yes.
So I do need confirmation from your end as well. So Rajan, if you do ask a question, do respond.
Sure. It is clear now.
Huh. So let me explain you in a bit of details as well. If you do have the two videos on your home screen, as I mentioned earlier, how to learn or manual testing, how to learn automation testing. Okay, and if you click on how to learn manual testing, and the video that plays is how to learn automation testing. You intended to play the video of manual testing, but the video played for the automation testing. Okay, it was not a problem from your end. You clicked on the correct thumbnail, but the wrong video played. So that's a defect. It is fulfilling its intended purpose. It's playing a video, but it's not playing the correct video. So that's a defect. We are able to access the system, but it's not behaving exactly how it should behave. But if we are not able to access the video only, like if I'm trying to click on that automation video, but that video does not play or no video plays, so that's a system failure. Why? Because my intended purpose is to play a video. No video is playing. That's a system failure. Was I Were you able to get the difference between defects and failure?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
If you want a better example, you can consider Facebook. Like if you log into Facebook and you try to post something, okay? You try to post something with a particular location that you want your location to be New York. Hi, I'm feeling happy in New York. But the location that was shown in your post was hi, I'm feeling good at Washington. So that's a defect because your intended location was New York, but it is displaying Washington instead. So that's a defect or bug. But if you're not able to post anything on Facebook, or if you're not able to log in into Facebook, that's a system failure.
Got it.
Okay. So we'll be moving to the next topic. Till now, any problem? I mean, any confusion regarding
No.
project or why do we
No.
do testing?
All
No, I'm
good.
clear. I'm clear.
Okay, that's great. So moving to the next topic. Huh. Why the software has bugs normally? So, Deepen, why do you think bug do arise in a software? Your thoughts on it?
Yes, I'll say like miscommunication or no communication during the software building.
Is it possible
Uh,
to build a software without communication?
it is not, but sometimes uh, the codings,
Mm-hmm.
when they do codings and there might be miscommunication between the project manager or the what do you say customer
Okay.
and the project management team.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So,
There might be chances to have a bug during that time,
mm-hmm.
and the other part I'll say is software complicity.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that? Anything that comes to your mind, don't take it
A
too hard.
software complicity is like the way it developed. Maybe the code was not written properly or not clearly.
Mm.
The code is not written clearly.
No, that's not what a software complexity is. Okay, let's move to
I'd
the
say the toughness of the project actually. That means when a software is being developed, there might be uh, n number of things in that project. So there are developers, there are documents that is being prepared.
software
So
test.
when we have multiple alignment in a project and it could go wrong in any of the department of that project. So the complex nature of that project, that dependency of on different departments of that project is called software complexity.
Different. What do you mean by toughness, and what do you mean by different departments?
So let's suppose when a software is being developed, there are a few stages like software planning, then we have software testing phase, then we have development phase and all. We have designing phase, documentation phase. These are the phases.
Mhm.
Now, each of these phases is interrelated to each other because if there is any miscommunication at any point in those stages, so it could lead to the product that is intended to be developed that not being get developed because of the miscommunication. So that increases the complexity of the software when 4 to 5 different stages are involved, and at any point with no communication or communication, it could get into something else. So that is what software complexity is for me.
No, you are absolutely wrong about it. Software development, as you mentioned correctly, has different phases, but it does not have to do anything with the complexity. Whenever you develop any software, be it very simple or be it very complex, there would be different phases involved in that development cycle that we would be discussing today only. Okay, but that does not increase or decrease the complexity. But kudos, you gave it a try. I like that. Now, let me explain first 2 points. First, miscommunication or no communication. What exactly do we mean by that? When we say miscommunication or no communication, generally what it means is whenever any software is developed, okay, you you need to have a background. You need to know the background first about that software. What is the intended purpose? What is the client's vision about that software? Then only you can develop, correct?
Yes.
So to know about that vision, you need either to talk with the client, or in most cases the client does provide you with a document, a detailed document that we generally call PRD, product requirement document. Okay, and in that PRD, everything is mentioned, that what is the vision of the client for that software, how the software is intended to work, what should be the functionality, what are the specifications that the client want. He just hands over you a document. Now there are few clients that would be quite busy and they won't give you that much time, so they'll just provide you the document and you can develop the software. Now there are few times when the software does not contain all the specifications that the software needs to have. Like if I give you an example, suppose a client comes to you and they tell you to develop a website for them in which they can log in and order cake online, the same bakery website. Okay,
Okay.
so now you do develop that entire bakery website for me. I forgot to mention you that you need to give the logout button as well. And it does not, and you also didn't.
Recognized or like added the logout button.
Yes, so you thought that okay, the client does not need that logout button, so that might be the reason that he has not specified that logout functionality. So you also didn't develop that, and everything was done. Now you handed over the website to me. Once my customers started using the website, few of them came to me or gave me the feedback that they are not able to log out. Reason being, they are not able to find the button. So now I do get the realization, oh my God, I didn't mention to the developer to create a logout functionality as well. As I was not very well versed in the technical aspect, so it was a bit hard for me to guess the entire framework. And due to some reason, that skipped your mind as well. So it was a genuine mistake from both the ends, correct?
Yes.
So that is what an example of miscommunication or no communication. Now, coming to the second point, that is software complexity. What do we mean by that? Softwares are of various type. Like you can say very easy to use softwares like YouTube, Facebook. You don't need a user manual to use YouTube or Facebook. Correct? I suppose hardly
Yeah.
anyone goes to the help section or how to use Facebook section. Correct?
Yes. It's like friendly, user friendly.
Yes, it's very user friendly. You don't need anything. But if I tell you the but if I tell you to use Eclipse, start using Eclipse on your own, would you be able to do that? Or there is a API testing software. It's known as Postman. If I tell you to start using this software, would you be able to use it?
No.
Reason being, it's a bit complex. You need to know the functional aspect of this software first in order to use it. So, can I say that the Postman software that's displayed on my screen right now is more complex than YouTube?
It is.
And the reason being because it has too many functions. And you need to know each and every aspect of this software, or at least you need to know 30 to 40% of this functional aspect of this software in order to use it. Correct?
Yes.
So this software is more complex because it has more functionalities. So the complexity of software mainly depends upon the functionality of the functions that they have on that software. The more functions that we give to users, the more complex the software becomes. Okay?
Okay.
So
Got it.
now coming to the third point, programming errors. What comes to your mind, Deepen, when you hear the term programming errors?
Per my understanding, programming errors is the code used to program any kind of software, and the codes were not written properly.
Yes, that's correct. If there is any kind of logical error, okay, that was introduced due to the programmer, okay, or the developers, that is known as programming error. Okay. Can you give an
Okay.
example of programming error? What comes to your mind?
Uh, a programming error like
Mhm.
I can give the example that you had given us for the bakery software
Yeah, any example.
where where a customer can log in,
Mm-hmm.
but they have to have the user ID and password
Mm-hmm.
to log in the system to order a cake. But the programmer has not properly developed the check-in boxes or the requirement of login. Let's say we have to, if I would like to log into my email, I have to go put my email address or my username and the same password that I usually use.
Mm-hmm.
To generate a Gmail, we need to have all the information submitted before I create a user ID and password.
Okay. So how
And
exactly is that a programming error?
uh, I'll pass it to you now.
Okay, no problem. I'll explain. Programming error basically means now that there is some error in the logic that was developed by the developers. Okay.
Okay,
And if I want to give you an example, let's take a very basic example. Like if we go to a login page, there are mainly two fields that we type in. First is the username field, second is the password. Correct?
password field. Yes.
Now, for my specifications, like if I'm the customer, okay, and I had told you that, listen, Deepen, I need the user ID field to have a character limit of 30 characters.
30 characters. Yeah.
Okay, and the password field limit should be of 25 characters.
25 characters
That
with.
yes, that's what I wanted. The addition of special characters and symbols and stuff like that. Okay, so
Okay.
that's the limit, 30 characters and 25 characters. Now, during the coding part, what you did is you expanded the character limit of both the fields to 100 characters.
100 characters.
Okay, the requirement was originally for 30 and 25 characters respectively,
25. Mhm.
but you increased the limit to 100 characters for both username as well as password. So that was not a requirement error, that was a programming error.
Programming error.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah,
so
I understood. So
hmm,
I explained the what is it like? I explained in the different way. That is the different requirement error or
yes,
logical error.
yes,
But the programming error is like
the
it is developed. The software is developed, not developed according to the customers, right? I
yes,
mean their requirements,
it is developed as per the functionality, but not as per the requirement of the,
requirement of the customers.
yes, due
Okay.
to, it mainly originates due to the programming errors. I mean, the
Okay.
coding error of the developer. As I mentioned in my example, the character limit for username and password field. Okay. The original requirement was for 30 and 25 characters respectively. Correct?
Yes.
But due to a coding error, there should be a limit that if I do try to enter more than 30 characters, ideally you should have displayed a message that only 30 characters are allowed in the username field.
Yes.
But that did not happen. Reason being,
I'll
reason,
say miscommunication.
y- not miscommunication, it was a,
I'd say the developer did not give attention to that. I would say or forgot about that for a while. He did
yeah,
know to develop that, but he missed on to it.
an
Human
honest,
error.
yes, an honest mistake from developers end.
Okay,
Okay. Just a
got
simple
it.
coding mistake, you can say. Now, the second last point, that's the changing requirement. What do you understand by changing requirement?
Frequent changes in a project that keeps on changing every now and then in functionality or a feature, and that could lead to delays in the project, or that could lead with no time available, or coders need to time coders need time to develop according to those changes. So it will incur bugs or errors in in the project or the program.
Yes, correct. And if I have to give an example, again, let us take the example of username and password field character limit. Okay, earlier when we were, I mean, when I shared my specifications with you for the development of my bakery website, I had mentioned that I need the character limit of 30 and 25 characters respectively. Correct?
Yes.
Now, after some thought or at later phase of time, I wanted to know I should increase the character limit because there might be some customers who might have very long emails. So I changed that requirement from 30 and 25 characters to 100 characters for both the fields. Okay.
Okay.
But what we originally agreed upon was 30 and 25 characters. So due to that change in requirement, and as the changes were not communicated to the developer at the right point of time, the character limit still remained 30 and 25. So that bug was introduced due to changing requirement.
Okay.
Okay.
So are we clear on programming errors and changing requirements?
Yes.
That's great. Now we'll be moving towards the last point. That's lack of skilled testers. Okay. Now, in order for a software to function properly, we do need very good testers that can test the entire end-to-end flows and even the edge cases so that the system never breaks. We need to test everything, correct?
Yes.
Not only the happy flows.
All right.
So if there are no skilled testers, then we won't be able to test every flows, correct?
Yes.
And that is the reason, that is also one of the reasons that bugs are introduced. So
Introduced.
for these 5 points, any questions from you guys?
No, all
No.
clear.
Okay, sounds good. Then we'll be moving towards the next topic. Okay,
Okay.
any questions till now from the start to the
No.
end of the first lecture? Okay, sounds great. Now, our next topic, as listed here, would be the development methods and few QA related terminologies. I guess, Deepen, you might have studied these earlier as well.
Yes, I have to recall all those things. I'm
Ah,
familiar with the words written there.
no problem, but you do have a basic understanding, so you would again be the voice of this class, as you are the most experienced learner here. Okay,
Okay.
so software development life cycle. What do you understand by this term, Deepen? Help us out here. Anything that comes to mind, don't take too much pressure, huh? Anything that feel free to say. There is nothing wrong about saying, even if you do say it incorrectly, na, we'll just work it out together and we'll
Software development life cycle is like requirement analysis, designing, implementation, testing, and deployment and maintenance.
correct. Sounds
I
like.
would say SDLC, it's a process of developing a software through different phases, like planning, defining, designing, building, testing, and deployment.
Okay. And why do we have these different phases and that too in this order only?
In order
And
to
which
get a
order?
proper software that is bug free, or not bug free, I would say less bugs involved in a software, we need to have a proper planning as to what software we are developing, what functionalities we do need. So we can do that in the planning phase. In the defining phase, I believe we can uh, come to an agreement on a certain features or a functionality of a software. Then we need to design that application or a website. So that comes in the designing phase. Or when this is confirmed, then it goes to the development team who writes the code, and uh, then it is forwarded to the testing team who tests the software or the application according to the requirement documents provided to them, and then at the end it is being deployed accordingly. With if that is a client software, so it will be deployed according to their in their market for customers or their general use.
Okay, that's correct. As mentioned correctly by Anand, that's the different phases of SDLC.
Rajan.
Sorry, Rajan, my bad. So, SDLC, it basically means software development life cycle. This shows entire life cycle of a software development process. And it generally starts with the planning phase and ends with the deployment, or you can, for most of the cases, maintenance phase. Okay. And this is a, you can say, circular path. Basically, that software development life cycle never ends. Even after maintenance phase, if there is something new feature, I mean, some new features that the clients want, or even in maintenance phase, we start the cycle again. The team might change, but this is what comes to play. As mentioned correctly earlier, planning phase. What we do in planning phase is basically we talk with our clients or the product manager if it's a product. We start planning how exactly or what exactly we want to develop, what should be the duration, what should be the specifications. We go into details and discuss everything and gather all the requirements from the client or the product manager. Okay.
Okay.
Now, once we are done with gathering all those information, we start defining how exactly would these requirements behave in terms of the product that we are developing or the project that we are making. We start doing that in defining phase. Once we define all these technical specifications or how exactly the behavior would be, now we move to the next phase, that's the designing phase. In designing phase, what we do is we develop the outlay of the software, a rough design. Like if I want to develop YouTube, then I would start designing by designing the homepage. Like if as soon as someone hits youtube.com, the homepage should display the YouTube logo, the thumbnail of most popular videos, and how exactly would YouTube behave. That would be in the designing phase. There is no coding involved in the designing phase. Only how the software is going to behave. That's what we do in designing, and we start developing the outlay from the designer's perspective. How the YouTube's logo is going to look like, what should be the size of the thumbnail in computer or mobile devices or a tablet, how would that behave? So we do all those in designing phase. As soon as the design is complete, we do have the blueprint for our product. Now we move towards the next phase, in building phase. In building phase, we basically do is we start creating the software. We do have the blueprint of our product. Now we need to just code it, correct?
Yes.
So we already have all the details as well as designs, that how YouTube's homepage gonna look like, how many videos it should display in the desktop, how many videos it should display in the mobile view. Everything has been designed. Now we just need to code and make sure that YouTube is displayed as per the design. So that is done in the building phase. Now, once the building phase is complete, we move towards the testing phase. In testing phase, we basically test whatever the developer has developed. First, the happy flows, whether we are able to fulfill our intended purpose or not. YouTube's intended purpose was we should be able to search for videos or see the trending videos. So whether it is fulfilling that purpose or not. Once we are done with the testing of happy flows, then we move towards negative flows and negative testing. And we try to break the system or figure out if there is any kind of edge cases or any other issues. And during our entire testing journey, if we do find any defects, bugs, as we discussed earlier, or system failures, then we create an issue for that, or we convey those errors and bugs or defects to the developers, that these are the deviation from the normal functionality and you need to fix it. Okay.
Okay.
And once we do send those issues to developers, they'll decide which issues they would like to fix first or which issues they would like to keep in the backlog to fix it at a later point of time. Or we can, or there are sometimes there are cases as well. In generally, what this in real life scenarios, we testers do suppose create 10, we find 100 bugs in a software. Okay. And as soon as developer sees those 100 bugs, the developers along with the product would decide the priorities of those bugs, which bug needs to be addressed first. Okay. They would be deciding the priorities and whether these fixes are needed instantly or not, or if they are needed at all or not. Okay.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and after that, when they have decided, they would again go to the building phase. They would fix those issues and develop some new features if there are any. And again, testing phase would come. So here to and fro's, a lot of to and fro's happen. You create a bug, the developer's gonna fix that bug and resend that back to you for verification. Again, you do test. If that bug is, if that bug has been fixed, you just mark it done. If not, again, you reopen that issue and assign to the developers. Again, they'll be fixing it. And once that process is complete, the product is okay, that yes, with this amount of bug, we can go to production or we can go for the deployment phase. Then deployment happens. Deployment basically means that the software that has been developed, now we can deploy it on production or we can give it to client for its use. Okay.
Okay.
And yes, after deployment, there is also a phase known as maintenance. Once the deployment is done, software generally, no one, I mean, gives you an order to create a software for just single time use. If someone is giving you an order to create a software, they intend to use it at least for few years, correct?
Yes.
So in that, for that duration, every aspect of that software should be working. And as you know, there are many changes that frequently happens. There are Windows change, I mean system changes, there are security updates that needs to be done. So to address those needs, there is a maintenance phase. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions? for software development life cycle?
No.
No.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be moving towards our next topic. That's waterfall model. So, Deepen, again, what exactly do you understand by waterfall model?
A waterfall model is an example of sequential model.
Mm-hmm.
In this model, the software development activity is divided into different phases, and each phases consists of series of tasks and has different objectives.
Mm-hmm.
The different phases are analyze again, design, implementation, testing, deployment, and maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Why it is called the waterfall model and not the spiral model or not the, you can say, rocket model? Why the name waterfall model? I mean,
Waterfall model is a one-way testing process
mm-hmm.
where once we perform the testing, we cannot repeat those testing again through the waterfall model.
Only the testing part.
Every
No,
part
I mean,
actually follows top-down models.
Correct, Rajan. So basically in waterfall model, what we do is whenever a phase is completed, okay, we can't go back to the previous phase. Like once the requirements are finalized, the client is not allowed to change any requirement. Okay,
okay, yeah,
it be the model behaves like a waterfall.
it's
If
like one-way traffic, right?
yes, one way only. You
Yeah,
can't go back. Like it happens in a waterfall. As soon as the water falls from the top, there is no way that the water is gonna go back up the stream. It's gonna go down only. So in waterfall model, we need to make sure that as soon as a phase is closed, we don't do any changes in that phase. Like for requirement gathering phase, we do talk with the client. We talk in very detail. We discuss all the nitty-gritties of the software, how exactly it's going to behave, what exactly is your expectation, what you want, what you don't want, what is the amount of issues that you are okay with going to production. Everything would be discussed in the requirement phase itself. Once the requirement is finalized, the client is told that these are the sets of requirement that you have given to us. Now we are freezing those requirements and we won't change those requirements in future. Okay,
okay,
till we hit maintenance phase. Now, as soon as the requirement is gathered and this part is complete, now we move towards the design phase. So based upon the requirements gathered, we do the designing part. And what we mean by design, we have already discussed, correct?
yes,
So we do the designing stuff in detail. And once the designing is complete, then again we move towards the development phase where the
de-
developers code. They code the entire requirement. Once they are done with the coding, now we move towards the testing phase.
testing phase.
Yes. So based upon these requirements, the testers gonna write the test cases. While the developers are developing, the testers gonna write the test cases. And as soon as the development is complete, the testers gonna start executing the test cases. Okay.
Mhm.
And if they do
Yes,
find any kind of issues, the developers need to fix the issues in the testing phase only.
yes,
So the
they,
developers gonna fix those issues. as the requirements have already been frozen, so there won't be any new development, correct?
Yes, yes,
So they need to fix all the issues, or at least what the agreed upon number is. But during the requirement phase, they need to fix those issues.
yes,
As soon as the testing phase is done, we move towards the deployment phase. Deployment also similarly, developers and testers gonna work side by side, and they would deploy that software. Once the
yes,
deployment is done, then again the tester is gonna test that everything is working correctly on production or not. And if there are any kind of issues, the developer is gonna fix, and the testers again they would test on production. And once the deployment is complete, they hand over the deployed product to the client. Now, client also does the testing from his end, initial testing. And if he is satisfied that yes, the product, I mean the software that has been developed fulfills the requirement that I had given, they do give a go ahead, and the product moved product moved towards the maintenance phase. Okay.
okay.
So this is what a waterfall model is basically. I hope we are clear about any doubts or any questions.
No,
No.
Oh, okay, good. So this is gonna be all for today. I will be sharing this PPT with you,
okay,
and you need to go through this PPT and through the topics that are ahead as well, like spiral model, V model, static dynamic testing. You do go through all these PPTs, okay, and do develop a basic understanding. And if you do have any questions, we would be discussing it in tomorrow's class, okay?
okay, okay,
And we'll be discussing the topics also in detail.
okay.
So, any questions?
Not from my side.
Not
Okay,
from my side as well. All
sounds
good.
good. So, we'll be meeting tomorrow, same time.
All right. Thank you so much.
One more thing
Thank
from
you.
my one more
Yes,
thing
please.
from my end. Please do try to make few notes. Okay, point. If you don't have that much time, either make some notes in the Google Sheet, or if you do have a notebook with you, whichever works for you, please try to make notes. I mean bullet points, topic wise.
That, yes, that's what I'm doing. I have like paper and pen ready every time I start class. So whatever discussion, like whatever bullet points or the topics covered, I try to get those, the bullet points and try to understand from there.
Yes, that's what I would also recommend, that please don't leave that habit. Try to write the bullet points for every class, or even after a class in weekends also. Whenever you do get time, try to write your own notes, at least the bullet points or the name of the topic and a bit of definition, so that in future, whenever you want to revisit your concepts or revisit the terminologies, you would be able to do that, because these PPTs would be shared with you. But if you don't have that in your own writing, na, you won't be able to understand that very quickly.
Yes, that's
So,
what I've started doing that. Like I've been taking notes during our class.
and one thing I would like to recommend, that don't overdo that. Your note making, don't overdo that. Okay, like you are writing everything what is present in the
No,
PPT.
no, I'm not doing that. I'm just like writing the points that, like, let's say we talk about what is a quality software.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just written like quality software defined as justification of all requirements.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the
So
correct way of making notes.
Yeah, that's what I do. And like why we need testings, I wrote like to ensure that the system software is less bug free and
Hmm.
ensure that system meets customer requirement and software specifications. So
Hmm.
those are the things I'm writing. It is not like what we are talking, I'm writing those all things, not like that.
That's good. That's exactly how one should write the notes. Only the bullet points, minimum text, just that. So notes basically means na, that you should just have bullet points in that, just to make
Yes,
sure that whenever you do visit your notes, you do recall everything. That's what it is for. Because
yes,
the entire text or the full details you can find it online, and we also share the ppt, so you would be able to, if you do want to get into details, you can go through that ppts or search online, but you just for the recall purpose you just need bullet points. Okay.
yes, already.
Okay, sounds good. So any feedback from you guys, anything that you want to, and anything that you want me to change, or anything that you want me to include?
No, I think like so far all the explanations are really good and like understandable for me, you know, and you using really general examples like bakery software or any kind of things. Those are very easy to keep on mind, like so I think like I'm good whatever we are doing so far.
Okay, good. And Rajan?
It's a new phase for me, so I'm uh, learning this phase, and I think there is no changes required. Actually, I'm learning the way you are teaching very well.
Okay, sounds good. So if you do have any kind of feedback, feel free to share at the end of the class. Anytime you can share that. If you want any kind of changes in my teaching style, or if you want some more detailed notes or anything that you do feel we might include in our classes, you can always tell me at the end of the class, or if not, you can also contact Anand
Okay,
over the mail, and he's gonna tell me, and we'll be including that in our lectures, because
okay,
the main concern here is that you guys need to understand each and everything in order to clear the interviews. You need to have the concepts very clear. There should
uh
be no confusion. Okay,
yes, yes,
that's what the main purpose is. That's why I do use these generic examples to make you understand. You need to
okay,
don't need to, I mean, just mug up everything. You need to have the clear understanding.
okay.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ankit.
Oh,
All right, thank you so much.
okay, Deepan.